It's Nick here again from Nick's 80s hard rock CD collection. Hope everyone's well. Just to quickly recap, the last bands we've looked at is Faster Pussycat, Bon Jovi, Poison, Def Leppard, and Guns N' Roses just recently. Now, speaking of Guns N' Roses, this band I'm going to show you today is a band that has got ties with Guns N' Roses, so I thought it would be appropriate to feature this band. Now, this band came from Los Angeles, California, and the band I'm going to introduce to you today is LA Guns. Now, as I said, that they have a history with Guns N' Roses, namely the guitar player there, Tracy Guns. He was actually in Guns N' Roses before it was Guns N' Roses. So Guns N' Roses was originally called Hollywood Rose, and Tracy Guns, he was a guitar player in Hollywood Rose alongside Axl Rose, the lead singer of Guns N' Roses, and also Duff McKagan, who was a bass player in Guns N' Roses. Yeah, so Tracy Guns was part of that. Excuse me. And Tracy Guns was part of that, and he had a falling out with Axl Rose, and Tracy Guns left the band, and he formed LA Guns. It's in there. Now, he actually got a English singer, Phil Lewis. That's him there, Phil Lewis. He's the lead singer, and he actually came from England, and he was in a band called Girl, which featured the guitarist from Def Leppard. So, as I mentioned to you in the previous video or the video before, a lot of these bands have ties with one another. So it's actually quite interesting. So, and also, it just came to me then, the bass player there, Kelly Nichols, he was actually originally going to be in the band Faster Pussycat. But Kelly had quite a severe motorcycle accident, and he was in hospital for quite a while, so he missed out on joining Faster Pussycat. So but LA Guns and Faster Pussycat, they were always very good friends. You know, both bands were good friends with each other. Yeah. So okay, we'll start off with LA Guns' self-titled album. That's it there. Now, this was released in 1988, and it was just hard rock, glam, hairband glam music, but it had a bit of an edge to it. It was different from the bands like Poison or Bon Jovi. It had a bit of an edge, had a bit of attitude, but it wasn't too over the top. Now, they had about two or three singles. One was called Electric Gypsy, which is a really rocking song. It's a great song, Electric Gypsy. It's a cool video clip too. It's really cool. They're all on their motorbikes going down the road, and it's just a cool video clip. So Electric Gypsy, Sex Action, that's another single of theirs. Yeah, so and this album actually achieved gold status, which means that it sold a certain amount of copies, and it was certified gold. And if you sell more copies, then it gets certified platinum. But LA Guns, this album achieved gold status, which is great for a debut album. Yeah, so that's their first album. Actually, I'll go through the band there. On the top left is Steve Riley. He's the drummer. Now, on the bottom left is Tracy Guns. He's the lead guitarist. In the middle there, that's Phil Lewis, lead vocals. Down there, that's Kelly Nichols, the bass player. And up there is Mick Cripps, who's a rhythm guitarist and keyboardist as well. Now, Mick is actually Australian. I only found this out about a year or so ago, but he actually came from Australia. So, and he moved to Los Angeles, obviously in the early 80s. So, yeah, so he's one of my fellow countrymen, being Australian. Anyway, so that was their first album. Now, their second album, it's called Cocked and Loaded. Now, this was the album that really did well for them, and it really put them on the map, so to speak. And they released a few hit singles. One was called Never Enough, another cool song. But the standout song that made them really popular was called The Ballad of Jane. Now, this was just as I said, it was a ballad, a ballad song, just a soft, tender song. But it really gave them a wider, big audience. This album is just really, it's really addictive, and I'm actually surprised it didn't have more success than it did. Now, this album also achieved gold status in regards to record sales, but I personally think that this album should have gone far more. It's just a really rocking album, and it's so catchy. The songs are really catchy, and it shows that they really stepped up their game and produced just a great album. It's a really good album. As I said, I'm surprised it didn't do better. There's a picture of the band there. So, and this was released in 1989, so it was a year after their first album. Now, their third album, this was released in 1991. Sorry, it's called Hollywood Vampires. Now, it's a little bit darker. It's a little bit of a darker type album. It's not depressing. It's not depressing dark, but it's a bit more darker, and it's not as light as the other two albums. I suppose because it was the start of a new decade, early 90s, and music was beginning to change, as I've mentioned before. The grunge era was starting to come through. But a solid album, and especially for its time, 1991. We have to remember that a lot of these bands were starting to fade out, unfortunately. But that's the nature of the music industry. But yeah, this was a really good album, and it had a couple of hit singles. Well, actually, you wouldn't call them hit singles. A couple of singles they didn't really do too well, but one was called It's Over Now. That's a nice little ballad. Actually, the first song, it's called Over the Edge. That was actually featured in the movie Point Break. Now, that movie featured Keanu Reeves and the late Patrick Swayze. So that song was on the Point Break soundtrack. Now, Point Break was a very popular film, extremely popular. As I said, had Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. But yeah, a great album, a solid album, this one. And I've got no fault with it whatsoever. Now, their other album, this one was released in 1994, Vicious Circle. Now, this really, it didn't do anything. 1994 was, smack bang, right where grunge was, So it was extremely hard for a band like this to release something and for it to be popular, unfortunately. But this is a fantastic album, and it's got a mixture of different styles of music. It's got really heavy stuff, but it's also got the classic LA Gun sound. It's also got a bit of punk, hard rock punk songs. So it's a really good mixture. And but as I said, released in 1994. In regards to singles, I have no idea, to be honest. I've got no idea. As I said, this album sort of came and went. It didn't really do anything. So Now that they are the main albums I have of LA Guns, because unfortunately after that album, they went through a lot of lineup changes. People left the band, they got in other band members, and they've literally, up to this day, they've gone through about 10 to 15 different band members. It's been unbelievable. So they have released other albums after this one, after 1994, but I don't have them, and I don't know, I might get them, I might not. I actually prefer the classic LA Guns lineup, as I said, of Tracy Guns, Phil Lewis, Mick Cripps, Kelly Nichols, and Steve Riley. This was the lineup that had the most success and really made a mark. But anyway, things could change. I might get them. I did hear that their latest album, it's called the Missing Piece, I think it's called. Yeah, The Missing Piece, and apparently it's really good. I've read reviews and heard reviews that it's some of their best work, so I might check that out sometime. But anyway, with LA Guns, just as I said, a bit different from Poison and the likes of Warrant and Bon Jovi, but they had some really catchy songs, and Tracy Guns, the lead guitarist, is a great guitar player. He can play really fast. And also with the rhythm guitarist, Mick Cripps, he can actually play keyboards, as I mentioned before, so he adds that extra layer to the songs with rhythm guitar and keyboards. But a solid album, and solid albums. And LA Guns have, as I said, they've toured with Faster Pussycat, they've toured with Warrant. I think they toured with Motley Crue, back in the early days. But yeah, a great album and a great band, and they're still going to this day. They're obviously, they play small venues, but they're still going to this day. So hats off to them for doing that. But just a good fun band, nothing too serious, and so another one of my collection. And as you can see, sorry, there we go. There's all my CDs there. I'll put them in a bit of order now. Yeah, so the next band I'll probably look at will be, let's see. Yeah, it'll be a band called Cinderella. Now, Cinderella, they had a lot of success. Bon Jovi helped them get where they want, get to where they got to. A lot of success in the 80s, Cinderella. So I'll do a video on them. So that was LA Guns, and great band. So thank you very much for watching, and everyone stay safe. Look out for one another. Keep the faith. Be strong, and as LA Guns do, keep rocking. Bye bye.